This is not an Onoya Buganda. This was land taken from our Baganda people and given to a few collaborators originally. If it was the original collaborators, would have confiscated the land without compensation. But because there was the issue of the people who bought from the other ones, that's why we had to say it's better we have a win-win. Because many of the people bought. It was a bad system, but it was illegal. It was there. So we shall get on each case we shall know who is right. Because even the courts also get compromised. The courts, because the courts, they were thinking that it's a struggle. It's a struggle. But for us, we are with both. We want the landlord to get justice, and the tenant to get justice. And what we need from the landlord is patience. Togoba bantu baffe tobatemako. There are people who come and say kutema kukibanja ekyo usigaza akatundu. All those are illegal. To reduce my kibanja, no, you have no right. Now, on the issue of the PDM and the Myoga, these plans are clear, and the money is now there, because in the past we would have the plans but we would not have enough money. But now we have put the money there, and the money is near, it is near the parish, it is at the parish, which is near enough. And the Myoga is at the constituency, which is also not very far. So if there is red tape, we shall see it. We shall see it. We are not going to change strategy, because the addresses are well known. I will take time and visit some parishes myself and call people. They will come. I will find out who is playing games. You know, once you task and you deliver, the rest is easy. Because if there is anybody playing games, we shall get him. Because the parishes are known, the constituencies are known. If there is anybody who is playing games, we shall get him. The PDM is for mainly the smaller people of 4 acres and less. And our guidance to them is the 7 activities. If you could kindly talk about them. Abamawulire. Abo kumpewo. Sibo muita, ntumbera kumpewo. Katabenpewo. Our things for the small people are 7 activities. Coffee, 1 acre of coffee. If you can have 1 acre of coffee. 2nd acre of fruits, especially mangoes, oranges, pineapple, for the lowlands. For the highlands, they can have apples, they can have grapes. 2nd acre. 3rd acre, omuddo, pasture for 0 grazing cows. Ente 8 mukiyumba, emanju. Omuddo in 1 acre. 4th acre, food for the family. Whether it is orusuku, whether it is banana plantation, whether it is cassava. Then a manju at the backyard, poultry for eggs. Then mind you, for those who are not Muslims and not traditional Banyankore, pigs. If you see Banyankore eating pigs in town, you put a question mark on them. I have seen some Banyankore eating pigs. I have never eaten pigs in my life. So, a man in the backyard. Then the one is near the wetlands, fish farming. So that money at the parish is to enable these members to borrow and do any one of these. Do any one of these, whatever they choose. Whatever they choose. You borrow and do any one of these. Now you can see these 7 are what we call intensive agriculture. Intensive agriculture is where you use a small area to produce high value. These are high value crops. From 1 acre like coffee, if you do well, you can even get about 18 million shillings a year from 1 acre. And so on, fruits the same. Now, there are other crops which we need. Maize, we need maize. We need ebikado. Ebikado mbili, abasoga. Abasoga balinka, where are these basoga? Do you have basoga? Oh, that's how basoga look like. But with abasoga, you see one of them here. So now avocado, then things like cotton, tobacco, our Rugubara people. Now those are products of extensive farming. From 1 acre of maize, you will not get much money. You will get about 800,000 shillings a year. Coffee, 18 million. This one, 800,000. So that's why we say the one to grow maize should be the one with big land, so that you can, although I get 800,000 in 1 acre, if I use 10 acres, that is 8 million. If I use 100 acres, that is 80 million. If I use 1,000 acres, that's 800 million. So from maize, I can actually get good money, provided I do it on a big scale. Which means I should have medium or large scale land. We need both, but the PDM is targeting the other smaller ones specifically. Kubanga nze Museveni tumugenda kusanga Museveni mu PDM nti Museveni asimbye line mu PDM bamuwe ku sente za PDM. No, that's not for these nabanjas. Aba nabanja bagenda mu UDB, mugende mu UDB mwewole. That's their address. Because there is money in UDB, cheap money for agriculture, for manufacturing, not for nightclubs. So if you want to borrow for nightclubs, Jiroli Indako. Or for importing carpet from China, no. We don't give you money for that. But for agriculture, for manufacturing, for some of the services like professional services, even our young people of music, we are going to add them on, because So therefore, me, I'm not bothered ogwaffe tugukoze okuwabula weekuli. We have guided. The money is now available. We know where the money is. So if there is anybody misusing that money, we shall get him. We shall get him. Now the human rights. The human rights, the NRM is very famous for guarding human rights. We were against extrajudicial killings. And we are against all these arrests without charges. And we organized you, the people. You are all organized from the village, LOC1, these are all elected people. So if there is anything who violates, anybody who is arrested must be coming from a village, must be coming from somewhere. And those structures should bring it up, and we follow it up. If there is anybody who violates any rights in Uganda, there is power everywhere, popular power, elected people, LOC1. They should be able to bring this one up. This is not to talk of the MPs and other people who are all councillors. I would encourage them to bring up all these issues. Even the issues of land eviction. These elected leaders should bring them up. They should really learn to do that. If you want to keep popularity, you bring up the legitimate issues of your people. The legitimate. Don't bring up illegitimate. If people are doing bad things, don't support them. But if they are right, you bring them up. So that should really deal with the illegal arrests and all that. Now the issue of staying long in prison, that one is, I think that one, I know why. The main reason would be the number of judges and magistrates. At one time it was not enough. Why did we not have enough? Because we have got so many other things to do. The roads, the electricity, the budget, the money comes now. The issue of having more judges, that means more money. So what do we do? Do we put, that's why we said, no, let's first deal with the roads. If you look at the budget, you'll find that at one time, the budget of Ministry of Works, you go and check. At one time, the Ministry of Works had a budget of 6,400 billion, while the one of Judiciary was 300 billion. Not because we didn't know that Judiciary needed more money, but because we have got so many things to do, and there are things which you know, once you do, it will help you to do other things. If you have got more judges, but no electricity, how will the economy grow? Let's start with, yes, have fewer judges for now, but have electricity, the roads. Now we have paid the scientists. You have had our quarrel with the scientists and the other people. We have to start with the scientists because they are the ones to back the economy to grow so that you can do other things. So the human rights, I think the infrastructure is there. Let's use it. Let's use it. Anybody who is arrested illegally, was he arrested in Uganda? Yes. From which village? Rwakitura. Does Rwakitura have LOC1? Yes. Why doesn't the LOC1 bring it up? Does it have a councillor in the in the area. Yes, there is a councillor. Does it have a member of parliament? All those, they should bring up all these issues. The structures are there, but if they are not used, then you get all these, even if the policemen were corrupt, because the policemen can be corrupt. But the antidote for corruption is already there. The elected people, the LC1 was elected. The councillor was elected. The MP was elected. MP, not one type, different types. Man MP, woman MP, PW MP, the other one is what? Youth. All those, why do they not defend their people? You find out. Then that will check the police. Even if the police are corrupt, they will fear. They will fear that, if I do bad things, the elected leaders will expose me. Not to oppose the police if they are doing good things, but if they are doing bad things. So for me, I would want to encourage all this power which the NRM gave you people. Use it. It's there. Power to elect. A batch of 3.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The next 3 will be Innocent Anyole, in that order, Sarah Kajingo, John Seranico. Like I said, one question, please be brief. Don't go into too many stories. Ask your question to the President, because we have a limited time. Thank you. Is Innocent here, Anyole?
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. I will prefer to use Lusoga. My name is Anyole Innocent. Nkola ni radio Busoga 1. Yagani Waidinda. President, eriye ibanga eribise nga Busoga na butwe tuli kwogera emanikwa nga ekitundu ekiri mu obwavu. Lwasemba okuba ekyando ku lunaku lwa Bishop Hannington, ensonga eyo batikoona weewuunya obwavu obuli e Busoga. Abasoga babaire mu kulima bikaado esizoni edeinuma, aye bali oti omulanga gwo gwe babakubiriza nga oli mu campaign ogw'okuba nti tibalima bikaado ku itaka itono baaguwulira, kuba olwaleero n'ebyuma byene bizira bikaado. Your Excellency, okuba nti Abasoga baava mu kulima ebikaado ate nga ekyokuyiza kuba kizira, twajja twafuna omukisa nga tulina ekyobugagga eky'eitaka kyebeta rare metals mu districts nga Bugweri, Bugiri, Iganga ne Namayingo. Buti olw'omukisa guno oguliwo ogw'okuba nti ekyobugagga kino kiri mu Busoga, awo wembuukiza Your Excellency, gavumenti eyambye etya Busoga eno okozesa ekyobugagga kino ekiri kwetaagisibwa ino mu nsi, twena tufaanane ku nga Bunolo erina amafuta ate yabanga efunye omukisa ogw'okujja mu maiso okufuna enguudo n'ebintu ebindi kamaala ebigire maiso okukulaakulanya Bunolo. Gavumenti yo erina nteekateeka ki okwesigama ku kyobugagga kino ekya rare metals okuleeta enkulaakulana mu Busoga, oba oli awo tuve ku kyalo Lambaala nga bw'otera okwogera ne yanziza eno.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you, Excellency. My name is Sarah Kajingo, Editor-in-Chief of Soft Power News, an online news outlet I founded, and I represent professional services sector at the Private Sector Foundation, which I've also had the opportunity to be elected as Vice Chairperson. So my questions, Excellency, will be about business. Whereas you've done a commendable job on industrialization, on integration of markets, and we had the opportunity as private sector to join the government teams that were in Democratic Republic of Congo, the Sudan and the South Sudan and other areas on integration of markets. In Uganda, there is lots of diversion on radio, on TV, talk shows, and among some politicians who are engaged in lots of politicking January to January, when Ugandans should be focused on PDM, on agro-processing, on indeed benefiting from these value chains, and government and the Right Honorable Prime Minister is all over the TVs and radio stations encouraging people on the parish development model. There is so much noise on politicking and planning for 2026, which is diversionary. Your guidance, sir, on that one. The second and my last is on the definition of the local content law. Again, commendable job by government, but the current data from Ministry of Finance says that the proportion of the value of contracts to local farms is 61%, but of these, 53% of the value of the contracts goes to companies domiciled in Uganda. In other words, companies that may not be necessarily fully owned by indigenous people. So as a business sector, whereas we appreciate foreign capital, it would be great to have the percentage of the value of these contracts go high for businesses. And then the other one is on...
No, you are offside, Kajingo. You are supposed to have, offside. A freebie. Yes, you are not supposed to ask, you are supposed to ask only one question.
Yes, thank you, Excellency.
Okay. So, Mfuye freebie, Kajingo, she's offside.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. John Seroniko, is John around? I saw him somewhere. Okay, good.
Okay. I'm called John V. Serwaniko. I represent LengeraNews.com. We do news online. And I would like to begin by appreciating the conveners of this event and suggest that it must happen more often as possible. And I also would like to ask for an exception because I have a neighbor there who does not intend to ask a question. I therefore request to represent him by asking two questions.
No, that one is not according to the rules of the football.
No. One, please.
Okay. All right. Your Excellency, for 2 years now, Facebook usage in Uganda has officially been suspended, and that remains the position up to this day. Originally, the target was the perceived trouble causers who use the platform to politically express themselves, but in the process, many other innocent users have ended up being constrained. There are many young people, for instance, that use Facebook to amplify business activities, creating publicity for their products and services. And it's also true that some adults, like Genome 7, equally used Facebook for legitimate communication. Many government agencies up to this day, like police, continue to use Facebook to do legitimate communication, and they are doing it very expensively because they have to use VPN. Mr. President, it's a dilemma that no one else can authoritatively respond to apart from yourself. as chief executive of the country, one would say to me, trying to shut me up, that go and ask that to the regulator, UCC, but they actually don't have the answers, sir. They are actually also waiting for signal to know that Jerome 7 is in favor of the suspension being lifted, and they certainly will allow Facebook to reopen. As I finish, my question therefore to you is, for how long do you intend to keep Facebook usage in Uganda suspended, and for what reason? Thank you very much.
Okay, the three questions. Ekisooka, omwana omusoga akobire nti ebyomutaka rare metros. I don't think you should know. I don't want you to divert my Basoga people, because yes, we are going to develop those minerals, but not everybody will go into those minerals. So I still insist that the quickest answer is agriculture. Although the land is fragmented, but if you take our advice of the 4 acres model, or even 2 acres, even 1 acre, like for instance in Fort Portal, there is a village called Rwengaju where they have 1 acre model, and 1 acre they use it for 2 things: for poultry, for eggs, and pasture for dairy cattle, and they are doing very well. So in Busoga, there is still enough land for many families to go into intensive agriculture. The mistake of the Bicado was because the Bicado you can calculate how much does one get from 1 acre of avocado in a year. You can go and work it out. And moreover, those avocado, they take 18 months. It's not even 1 year. It is 18 months. So you can check per acre how much one gets. And therefore, avocado, sugarcane, you can only get money if you do it on a big scale. 100 acres, 200 acres, 1,000. You can get good money, just like maize, like tobacco, like cotton. But please ask the Basoga, all who have land, to go for our PDM, Parish Development Model, for the some of the 7 activities. That's number 1. But for the minerals, you have seen that we have started making electric buses and electric vehicles, electric cars. Now, those electric cars need electric batteries. And the electric batteries, I use some of those components, the ones you are talking about. The lithium, the niobium, the rare earth. We shall develop them. We shall develop them for sure. We are already working on it. But yes, it will cater for some people, but not the whole population. The whole population, the majority of the population, need to be in agriculture because it is still there. That is for Soga. Definitely, you must have heard that I banned the export of minerals. I banned it. I banned the export of minerals because I don't want to be part of that betrayal of Africa, where African wealth is sold for others to become rich. But still, the minerals, even in Bunyoro, what you are talking about, not everybody will go. How many people will go to the oil field? Yes, they will benefit from the oil from agriculture. If you are in agriculture, you produce eggs, you sell to the ones who are working in the oil fields. That's what my people in Bunyoro, in Busoga, should do. Now, diverting people, Sarah Kajingo. Yes, these radios but I think our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza Muganda kita ugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babereyo bagumaza. Like we have got our own radios like Buked and so on. They can kuwabula, they can advise, guide, and people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them. Now, Sarah Kajingo ayingide mu mutego, because she's trying to make a distinction between companies owned by Uganda, Banansi, and companies based in Uganda but not owned by Ugandan citizens. That's very dangerous, because the economists helped us long ago to understand it. They told us that any wealth creation based in Uganda is part of our GDP, gross domestic product. Bugaga wafe nolwekyo abagenda nebagamba nti factory y'omuyindi muli mu nsobi, kubanga factory z'abayindi ziri buyindi, teziri wano. Buli factory yona eri wano yaffe, oba ya muyindi oba ya muchina kasita ebeera wano yaffe. Nze owente bwengenda India nenzimbayo ekkolero lyabayindi, wadde owente yalizimbye naye liba lyabayindi eri. So now what Sarah is trying to do is to distinguish between what they call GDP and GNP, gross national product. And this is what Trump was fighting with, because many Americans went to China and opened factories there. So the factories of the Americans in China were part of the GNP of the Americans, but zigagawaza China. So Trump yali akivumirira nti the Chinese are taking our So please, don't discriminate. A business owned by a Ugandan citizen and a business domiciled here, that's what you are saying, domiciled here but owned by a non-Ugandan, zona zaffe byonna byabugaga bwaffe. For instance, I can tell you that you have seen in Mbarara, there is an Indian who owns a factory of milk there. It's called Par or what? Bugaga bw'Abanyankole. Omuyindi tumukozesa bukozesa. Yatuyamba buyambi naye ekolo lino lyaffe. How? Let's assume that factory has earned $100 million in a year. Omuyindi oyo asooka n'agula amata gabe nti. Omuyindi talina amata ge. Omuyindi takama mata. Ajja Rwakitula n'agula amata g'abana Rwakitula. Ku miliyoni ziri 10 tugabanyeeko abakama amata. Ab'emmotoka bakiyita ki? Transporting mu Luganda. Bakiyita batya?
Okutambuza.
Your Excellency.
Okutambuza. Si kusaabaza kubanga kusaabaza kw'abantu. So this must be kutambuza.
Yes, sir.
The ones who transport milk, they are bagabanako kusente. Omuyindi teyajja n'amasanyalazi ge. Okuva Buyindi amasanyalazi gakozesa gaffe ga UEB, company yaffe y'amasanyalazi. Amazzi gaffe, emisolo ogenda kwekyusa ku miliyoni 10 eza dola eza kampani eyo zeyingizza, ogenda kusanga Uganda etuteko 85 million. Omuyindi bwanasigaza 15 agende nezo aliyeko. So don't bring this idea of foreign, what is here is ours. Facebook, yes, because Facebook balina ejogo. Facebook were arrogant. They were being used to attack us. When our own people used it to answer back, they were shut out. You remember? That's where the quarrel started. So we told them, Runyankore, Wayanganyineka, Amanganashora. If you don't want the head of the home, you show it by walking out. Kwenda, Facebook. How can Uganda chase Facebook? We are going to chase Facebook and you will see it. Now, Facebook has been chased for how many years now? You say 2 years. Kati bwembuza. Boda zitambula, nti boda zitambula. Ate za Kamunye. Nti nazo zitambula. Ate amatooke gajja. Nti amatooke gajja. Ate amata. Ebintu byonna bitambula wadde Facebook egaddwako. So I hope now Facebook knows who is in charge of Uganda. If they stop playing their games, we shall open them up. Okay.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The next 3 questions will come from Dalton Kawesa, Henry Mulindwa.
How many are remaining?
And Seruga Matovu. Your Excellency, there are quite many, but we have used 1 hour, 7 minutes so far.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing well.
I can survive this. I can survive these rumomongas.
Yes, sir.
Bagaranyo rumazi.
So Dalton.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Dalton Kawesa is my name, and I represent NBS Television. Your Excellency, you've spoken about the GDP, and I would like to invite you to look at our performance for, let's compare the last 4 years. GDP performance, growth rate, and also the population growth rate. When you look at the population for the last 4 years, vis-a-vis the GDP performance, it is not enterprising, Your Excellency. Because the growth is around 3%, the GDP keeps dropping and staggering here and there for the last 4 years. It informs the question, Your Excellency. While the 4 acres done well, how do your 4 years look like for the economy? Is there a solid plan for the economy vis-a-vis the growth rate and population and the GDP? And slightly, Your Excellency.
No, only one question. Offside.
Yes.
Your Excellency, even the referee can give extra time, but thank you.
No. Henry Mulindwa.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'm sorry. My name is Henry Mulindwa. I work with the Inspector Online News. Your Excellency, I'm going to take a bit of your time, just 1 minute, because there are some figures involved in this issue I'm trying to raise. On 12th March 2022, you were at your farm in Gomba. But when you went there, 5 poles, electric poles, were cut down by electricity vandals. And the farm was in darkness. Then on 9th March, you went to Chankwanzi, and 8 poles were cut, electricity poles I'm talking about. And the conductors were taken. Then on 2nd May 2022, you again went to Kaumu, and the electricity line was also vandalized, and a 12-meter cable was also taken. Also in May 2021, you were in Gomba. Still, the electricity line was cut and 8 poles were taken. Your Excellency, just recently, on November 12th, in Mukono we saw 2 towers were cut, and the second day another one was cut. We have seen Ujagali Kawanda 220 kV power line cut, and so many incidents, Your Excellency, have happened. We have seen you, Your Excellency, in the past, when there was urban crime, you formed some squads to fight that urban crime. For example, Operation Wembley, headed by Kanu Kayanja then. But in this case, we are seeing what others might call economic sabotage going on, and you have not come out to tell us what you are doing about electricity infrastructure vandalism. What are you doing, sir, on that matter?
Thank you. Okay. Another one, the other question, the third one.
Matovu.
Your Excellency, I am Charles Serugamatovu, the villager from Mitiana. I work as a public affairs officer at Uganda Media Center, and I'm also a talk show host on Bukedde TV and radio. Mine is about the presidential initiative on HIV/AIDS. We are remaining with only 8 years to make it 2030. When you say what you talked about, and you said by that time we shall have fought AIDS and must have run out of this country. There is a fear that some of the donors may get out of this, the support of this initiative. The fear of Ugandans is that if they run out of this initiative, if they get out of this initiative, your initiative of supporting the fight against AIDS, will government manage to fund your initiative, sir? Thank you.
Okay, now the GDP versus population, it is true that in the last 4 years, since Corona started, there was a little bit of slowdown, but we are still doing well in spite of, because as you saw, actually, if you wanted to prove that Uganda is strong, this Corona proves it. Because with Corona, tourism stopped completely. But in spite of tourism stopping and other disruption, hotels, the hospitality industry stopped, but still the economy grew by some, I don't have the figures of, they were like 4% and 3%. Now, for this year, the economy will grow by 5.3%, and the export earnings are going up, and the economy is bigger. It is now I think by this end of this year, financial year, it will be about $53 billion. And that's why we say that Uganda has entered the middle income status, because the middle income, then the population is about 43 million. So now the figure is per capita is 1,000 something more above the $1,039, which is the minimum. So it's a bit, it was a bit slower, but still good enough and growing, and actually proves that Uganda can withstand anything, because this Corona was very serious. The only little problem that had come up was the one of the drought. Actually, the drought was more of a problem, because it affected food supply. But we are handling that now with irrigation. So with irrigation and and with all the other things we are doing, the economy is doing well. It was a slowdown, but it was not a stoppage. Vandalism, I have not come in the issue of vandalism of electricity. I'm still Minister of Energy, handling it. But surely, if necessary, we shall handle it, because you will hear those, if once we come in, those vandals will not like it. Once I come in, I can assure you they will not like it, because some of them will be maybe underground. If I come in, 6 feet under. But I have not come in. I think electricity, energy, they're still handling it. Maybe Prime Minister can say something about it. I have not sat in any meeting of vandalism. I read about it in the papers, but I have not. We have not discussed it in any forum where I have been. Bana bakutema masanyalazi.
Your Excellency, they have affected us badly. This question is so good, and I request that you interest yourself. We have had a number of meetings, and we have also involved security, like police, but when you come in, I think we shall fight these together.
What have they done so far?
Your Excellency, the line from Bujagali was permanently down, and recently they also cut this line, which is in the sugar cane of this Kakira side. And there is when UGCL could not supply us with enough energy. It's economic sabotage, Your Excellency.
Okay. Okay, it will be solved. Because are the power lines in Uganda or in Congo? The one who was asking, who was it? They are here in Uganda. If they are in Uganda, they will be handled. They will be handled. Now, HIV/AIDS, if the donors will go away, what shall we do? We shall manage. We shall manage. We shall manage. We shall manage. Instead of building more roads, we shall build less roads and look after our AIDS people.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Like I told you, we had some questions from the upcountry stations. We will ask the team to play them. I think there are 4 questions, correct? Please play them, yeah?
Radio Unity FM here in Lira Commercial and Industrial City. Your Excellency, more than 5,000 children in northern Uganda, specifically in the districts of Kidgum, Agago, Pade, Lira, Yam, among others, have been affected by the nodding syndrome, out of which more than 500 children aged between 10 and 30 have since died. Ugandan scientists led by Dr. Nzivua Sylvester of Mulago Hospital have established that it's a neurological disease of children characterized by an abnormal deposition of protein in their brains. These findings have already been published in highly acclaimed scientific journals. My question, what is the government doing or has already done to support these scientists to find the cause of this disease? Because if you go to any of those families keeping these children, Your Excellency, you will obviously feel tight. It is a very big problem. I've seen even scientists here in Lira University trying to find a way of making recipe that can help these children feed normally. But the situation is not good at all, Your Excellency. I would want to know what the government is doing to help scientists who are trying to help these children. Thank you so much.
Webale mnongo mwembezi wihanga izina lyanje ndumore mugabirwe ninkora nabona FM omu district ya Rukunjiri enshuminche hingwire okagambira abantu muri burenge bwizo bwa Uganda okurugo mbishara bakarekeraho kuhingamu okugira ngo bareke kubishisha abantu bakikiriza ebishara babirugamu akandi tubakingamu abo kuba bakandi bahingamu emondi na nebindi bintu ahibabire nibihaka sente konka hata bakabereka tubakingamu hata abantu nibebuza government ebatebekanisize ki ekyo kwisha kubayamba abo kugira ngo hata bakikozesa bishara ngo kuwa baragire kurugamu ndumore mugabirwe ninkora nabona FM.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Gaitano Pamako. I work for Radio Patches in Arua. One question from me, though I would love to ask more questions because West Nile region faces quite a number of challenges. But one major issue of West Nile has been to do with the poor and dilapidated state of the road between Nebi and Oluyo, and also the road between Koboko and Moyo. Mr. President, these particular roads currently are in very poor state. How are you, as the President, concerned about these particular roads? A normal journey of 8 hours using the bus from Arua to Kampala now takes 12 hours. Mr. President, 12 hours from Arua to Kampala. Thank you.
Your Excellency, erinnya lyange nze Nsubuga Robert omukozi ku UBC Nesta TV okuva mu Greater Masaka. Your Excellency, Bannamasaka n'abantu b'okuva mu East African Community baagala okumanya kiki ekyatuuka ku katale akaali kateekeddwa okuzibibwa gavumenti kati emyaka 3 nga tewaliwo kikolebwa akamutukula regional market akali mu district ey'Ekyotera ku nsalo ey'eggwanga erya Tanzania ne Uganda emutukula. neyanziza nnyo Your Excellency.
Yes, those are the questions we had, Your Excellency.
Okay, now the nodding disease syndrome, when I last was briefed about it, it was being caused by the fly. A fly called what? What is that fly called? Huh? Black fly. Uh-huh.
Black fly, which usually resides in fast-flowing streams.
Yes. It was being caused by that black fly, which they say likes fast-moving water. So what we did, we sprayed the streams. Now, the people who are here, the Prime Minister should note the question, because when we sprayed, I don't think there are new cases. So, the Prime Minister has noted the question, and she will follow it up, because if it is the 5,000 are the old cases, then we shall see what to do about them, the 5,000. But more importantly for us, our immediate task that time was to stop the continuation of that problem. And the Prime Minister will check with the Minister of Health whether we have had any new cases. Yes, Dr.
Your Excellency, you're right that it is associated with that black fly, which facilitates transmission of a disease-causing organism called Onchocerca volvulus, causing onchocerciasis. So in addition to spraying, the government also provided a drug called ivermectin, mass distribution of the drug, which was swallowed by people, and now the disease is down. So they are battling now with all the cases, and the government has also been supporting the children with food through health centers and also psychosocial support. There are NGOs that have established treatment and support centers, and the government works with them to see that the children are given that support. Dr. Zivwa of Murago has been working with the Canadian professionals to do further studies. I think he needs support so that he continues on that collaboration research with the scientists in Canada. But the government is closely following those cases of the children.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Varimus has reminded me that it was two-pronged. Number one, kill the fly that was spreading it. But number two, kill the organisms that are in people's bodies. Fortunately, there is a medicine for that. I remember now that he has talked about it. Because that's when we were talking of mass treatment. Because it is like malaria. Malaria is spread by the mosquito. But if we did not have malaria parasites in our bodies, even if the mosquitoes beat us, they would have no plasmodium to spread. So in this case, the treatment, you treat the people so that they don't have the disease in them. So that even if this fly bites you, it has no organism to spread. But also we kill the fly itself. So I think these are old cases, and as Dr. Varimus is saying that they are working on getting solution for the old cases.
Your Excellency, through the Ministry of Northern Uganda, we formed a task force. And I'm happy to report that recently we decided to give support to homes instead of putting them in centers where they used to be. And I think this week, the State House Comptroller supported those homes with cows, so that they can now, those children who are still there can be given food, and the cows can give an income to those affected families.
Support them.
Yes.
Now, on the girl from Rukunjiri, about wetlands, the people who were in the wetlands, whom I told to get out and they got out, I'm very glad to hear about that. I asked the Prime Minister here to get in touch with that girl who was speaking, the reporter, so that she can show us those families, and also talk to their RDCs, maybe they know. The ones who get out of the wetlands, we shall see how to support them, give them alternative livelihood. Alternative livelihood. In some of the areas, if the wetlands have got wide plains, we can even help them develop fish farming near the wetlands, not in the wetland itself, but on the periphery of the wetland, or give them alternative livelihood. The Prime Minister will follow it up with you, the girl who was speaking on the TV. Now, the one from Arua, I will ask the Prime Minister to check, but I think I had been told that the section of the road from Nebi to Oruio was being reconstructed. That's what I think. But the Prime Minister will check and come back to you on the radio. The one of Koboko Moyo, that one we are going to tarmac it. But it's still Maram, but it is due for tarmacking. And when I was last in that area, they were already tarmacking Atiak, Zaipi, Ajumani, I think all the way to Moyo. That one was already being tarmacked. So what is remaining to be tarmacked under the refugee support program is the Koboko, Yumbe, Moyo. Now, the Prime Minister will check how far that one has gone, and if it is still delaying, that at least they can work on the Maram, so that the Maram is in good condition. Mutukura Market, I don't know what is the story about the Mutukura Market. The Prime Minister either will answer or will check and answer you later.
Your Excellency, Mutukura Market was brought to your notice last year. No, this year in May.
They wanted land?
Yes, and land you have given them 204 hectares, and the Minister of Lands has already gazetted that land.
They wanted land from the Sango Bay land. Sango Bay land is for palm oil. We want to grow palm oil there. But we cut off some acres and gave them to the border market. So she can check and come and tell you.
Thank you, Excellency. We're doing well on time. So far we have done 1 hour 31 minutes. The next 3 questions will come from Moses Chidandi, Barbara Kaija, and Rujendo Arinaitwe.
Rujendo Arinaitwe, the rumor monger?
Yes, he's here.
The one of, was it red pepper? Was it red pepper?
Yes, it is. It was red pepper, or it is red pepper.
Oh.
Moses Chidandi.
Thank you, Excellency. Moses Kidandi, I work with Capital Radio and Beat FM. Your Excellency, I'm reporting to you what I asked the public after I was told that we were having this meeting. I went to the public, to various places, and asked what you would want the President to respond to you if you had an opportunity to interact with him. That's what I asked. And the main concerns from the public was that prices of goods and services are very high. And the reason is that the fuel prices are affecting so many businesses that have been forced to reevaluate their business plans and how they are operating. And this is because government has not made a decision to make a direct intervention to try to put the fuel prices down, maybe in form of subsidies and so on and so forth. So, Your Excellency, I would like to know if there's a possibility to do this for at least 12 months as we see if there could be any more stability on fuel, because it's affecting even school fees. When you ask, you told us to eat cassava, for instance, but the cassava buys the same price with bread. 5 pieces of cassava go for 5,000 shillings, and that's the price of bread. School fees, they are giving reasons that the price of food has gone up, and the reason is because the price of transportation is high. Your Excellency, these are some of the things that we wanted to discuss with you again, but your seat at Capital Gang is still unoccupied.
Okay. Is it Barbara? Yes.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'll ask about the Congo, Eastern Congo. The question remains a top security priority for the East African community, with the regional forces deployed to pacify the region. In one of the recent resolutions, it was resolved that all the foreign militia groups should return to their countries of origin. Of course, ADF to Uganda, Red Tabara to Burundi, FDLR to Rwanda. So what happens to M23 rebels? Are we seeing a full-blown war in Eastern Congo?
Okay. And the other one?
Yeah, Your Excellency, my name is Arnito Rigiendo, and I am an editor at large. First of all, let me first thank the forces, use this opportunity to thank the forces for the regional peace efforts, especially in scattering the ADF and also restoring relations with Rwanda. My question is pointing you to regional security. Now, last year, Your Excellency, you told us that we would be surprised, last year about the same time, that we would be surprised to know who the real ADF is. Now, 12 months later, we see a resurgence of ADF attacking civilians, police posts, and some people think even probably they could be behind these power lines vandalization. Now, what is this real ADF according to you? Is it probably something to do with angry Ugandans about some of these issues like land evictions and others? Is it something to do with veterans? Is it something to do with geopolitics or internal sabotage in your government? Because the reason I'm pointing you to this is that we would possibly, if we had a direction, like sort of where we know where the gap is, the problem is, so the nation would rally behind the forces to really get this problem out of the way once and for all, because it has ramifications for economics, for politics, for business activity, and even regional integration. Thank you very much.
Okay, 1 minute, let me come back.
Yes, I've been guided. For those who want to stretch a bit, please use the opportunity. For those who want to places of inconvenience, I think it's right through there. You can quickly go and stretch yourselves, and thank you.
Delta TV Tukole twegemese tutaasa obulamu. Omulabi waffe omulungi kati osobola okugoberera pulogulaamu zaffe butereevu ku mukutu gwa YouTube. Genda ku YouTube oteekemu Delta TV Tukole olwonyumirwe movies ez'akabi basereebu bo bannabyabufuzi ab'ebyemizannyo ebya bizinensi ebikuzzaamu ensimbi n'ebirala. Subscribinga ku channel yaffe era onyiga akade olwobeere ng'ofuna obubaka buli kiseera. Delta TV Tukole.
Mwana Sanim aine ekirooto bana ekyakubera muwandiisi owakabi buli omu aberekawo bana nga mumanyi so nga ate bazadde be tebakyagalira ddala abere muwandiisi awo nno bamuteeka ku nninga ne bagala omufumbiza oba bufumbo oba omulimu yalina okwesalawo mulimu yagunoonya bannange yagufuna ninga ku kampani gye yagufuna yewali mwana mulenzi kan entalo ziri wano nga gonna eyalagadde okumanya wajja biggwera muganda wange tokasobwa ku Delta TV essaawa 2 ez'ekiro n'essaawa 4 ez'okumakya nga yeba repeat nange vijjewo shai vijje
tosiba ku Delta TV nga kiwagiddwa.
Oyagala kusasulira amazzi oba yakanenga olina sente ntono ku simu nyiga *165*5 *3 hash okusaba.
So the answer for the fuel answers are 2. Number 1, going to electric vehicles, especially the border borders. You will see a big movement to shift from these fuel border borders. I don't know, I haven't checked how far they have gone, but there's a plan to swap at no cost. You bring your border of fuel, we give you one of electric. There is that plan. I negotiated with people. I didn't know I would have checked, so that all these border fuel are totally out. We go for electric borders, all of them within a year or 2. But then secondly, we are talking with the Europeans, with the Russians about that war, because once that war stops and there are conflicts, then the fuel will come back. So I appeal to the Ugandans to really be patient. It is safer that way. The other one of trying to subsidize is a disastrous way. It is very dangerous. Now, on Eastern Congo, the groups like ADF will not come back peacefully. We shall force them. We shall force them, like we have seen recently. Because we are hitting them badly in Eastern Congo. Now recently they tried to come back through Ntoroko. You saw what happened to them. The whole group was wiped out. Now for the M23, it is part of the other Congolese groups. There are M23, Mai Mai, Kodeko. There are many groups inside Congo which came up because of the vacuum of power there. We are encouraging the Congolese government to negotiate with them to bring them back peacefully to normal life. And if they refuse, then we shall use force on them. But otherwise, we think they should be negotiated with. Now, finally, on ADF. ADF is a group which was started by our young Muslims here, who had been trained in Arab countries, but who did not have skills and didn't want to work. This was 90 something, like 90s. When they attacked Mpondwe, first time it was, I think, 96 November, I think it was November 13th or something like that. Then they were supported by Sudan, but Bashir and Mobutu. And they used the vacuum in Eastern Congo. They were there with having gardens, they were controlling that area of Eastern Congo until we went there. Now that we have gone, there is no way they will survive. These attacks on the police station, well, these are very shallow, and if they are also involved in the attacking the power lines, once we mobilize, we shall. You remember at one time they were attacking factories. Do you remember that? Attacking factories. You remember that time when they had started attacking factories, but it stopped. So the big problem was Congo. Kabila's government, which was giving them a free space in Eastern Congo. Now that that is no longer there, they will be wiped out. And I would call all they need from the public is vigilance. Like all these cases where we have killed these criminals, there has been some sort of vigilance. You detect somebody who is not supposed, who is not known in the area. That's all. Otherwise, the security forces have the capacity to defeat them.
Thank you, Excellency. We have about 20 minutes, doing well, and please, because of that, ladies and gentlemen, be very brief with your questions. We have Raymond Mujuni next, Kungu Adam, and Dixon Mubiru. Raymond, are you around?
Those will be the last.
Yes. Raymond Mujini is my name, Current Affairs Editor at the Nation Media Group. Your Excellency, your productivity mechanism has worked over the last 6 years. We've seen a growth in productivity in the economy. The most insistent question now is market consumption and income for Ugandans from that. The numbers that we're seeing from the Bank of Uganda indicate that not many people are getting employed and not many people are getting the income that they deserve from the employment they're getting. So what's the plan to increase nominal incomes for Ugandans who are working in these service sectors that are servicing the productivity? And also what's the plan for domestic revenue mobilization to extend to areas where productivity is happening, which is agriculture? Will we tax agriculture? Will we tax farming so that the pressure goes off of the service sector?
Okay.
Adam.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and welcome back from the trip to the UK and US. My name is Adam Kungu. I work with Baba TV and Radio 4. Your Excellency, there was speculation that your hosts during the US-Africa Summit intended in one way or the other to engage you to change your and Uganda's stance on the Russia-Ukraine conflict? Is it something that you consider or Uganda intends to consider at some point? And are we cognizant of the implications of the stand we have already taken as a country? Thank you.
Dixon Muriru.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you for this session. My name is Dixon Mubiru, and I run New Grace Publications, on Owino newspaper, The Grapevine, and Top Secrets. My question is very simple, and it is concerning security and the recent abductions. Recently, one opposition leader has been highlighting people, different people from different regions who have been abducted and are nowhere to be seen. I run a local publication which is community-based, which is on Owino. And there are stories of relatives of these people who say that there are people, some of those who have been released are in a very bad state after their release. My question is, who is arresting these people? Secondly, can security give us a count of those in their cells who are waiting prosecution, like you said, when the judges are appointed, when enough judges are appointed, the number, those who are waiting prosecution. And then, Your Excellency, what are we going to do, or what is your government going to do for those people who have been arrested, tortured, and then allegedly tortured, and then left for the dead, thrown in various villages? Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Okay, those are the last three questions.
One more. I forgot, sorry Helen, I forgot your question. You can ask your question now and then we close.
Thank you, Manuel Simbi. Your Excellency, I thank you for this opportunity. I'm Helen Muchivi from New Vision, which is part of Vision Group Media. And
oh, Muchivi, Umulwanyi wa Foweda.
I appreciate, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned Bukede Radio as one of the platforms you wish to use to create awareness. Because Vision Group, we have 5 radio stations, and I'm sure others will be very helpful in this one. What I want to ask about, Mr. President, that during your recent engagements in US and UK, from the information you got, your meetings centered on health, security, trade, investment, and value addition. So what I'm asking about is, how does the Ugandan, a common person like me, benefit from these meetings in eradication of poverty in our country? And what are the opportunities? And maybe as you list the opportunities, you also mention what lessons should Abakongozi, like you mentioned recently, learn about your visit and the opportunities.
The what?
What are the opportunities that are coming after your deliberations in the US and USA? And then I mentioned that recently you brought a new phrase, Abakongozi, or Abakongola. I'm not so sure.
Okay.
So how do they benefit? And then a sub-question is that while still in the US, you met the leaders of the region. So I'm just wondering, what plans do you have to eradicate these the the differences that always bring about the stallment of cross-border trade, because these are questions and problems that come over and over. So my question is one, but with a 1B. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Okay, so this will be the last because I must go and do something else. One was asking about the purchasing power of the people. I think that question was about the purchasing power. The one who asked me first. He was saying that production has gone up, but people don't have money to buy. That's what he was saying. Well, that's an old question. It was a big problem for capitalism from the time of Adam Smith, 1776. The capitalism grew, production grew, but purchasing power was not growing because people didn't have money in their pockets. And in 1929, it caused the big capitalist crash in Western Europe, what is called the Great Depression. That is when some of the new economists like Maynard Keynes brought the idea of putting money in people's hands so that they can be able to buy. And Maynard Keynes gave an example. He said you could employ somebody to dig a hole, then fill it again, and pay him. In other words, he doesn't do anything of value, but you put money in his hands so that he is then able to go to the shops and buy something. And that is where the idea of the welfare state, you know, in Western Europe, this is where people are not working, but they are given unemployment benefits. But those are economies which are different from ours. You see, those economies, you will find that unlike Uganda, so many families have land. So many families have land. If I asked you here, how many of you whose parents have land, put up your hands. Your parents, put up your hand. Can you oblige? Almost everybody has put up his hand. So, our economies are different, and the accurate description for them is underdevelopment. Underdeveloped. They have got resources which are not developed. The land is not developed. Is not fully used. It is there. The labor is not fully utilized. So therefore, our answer here to put more money in people's hands is what we are doing. When we say PDM, this is government money. It's a grant by the government to this group in the village. You people, here is money. We beg you, we are begging, can you imagine? We beg you, please, that you use this money on your land. Your land is yours, it's not mine. To create more money. This is what we are telling them. So that's what everybody should concentrate on. This is a grant. This is a grant by the government. Then we go to the other people to say, okay, in case you don't have land, or you don't want, even if you have land, you don't want to use it. This is a myoga now, a myoga at the constituency. This is now skills-based, carpentry, So this is the money we are putting in your hands so that you can, but the difference is that this is the money to produce more money. It is ensigo, so tubawereza ensigo z'obwerere eza ssente nti musige mukungule esente ezisingawo. This is our answer to that issue, because the moneylessness, the lack of money, is because people are not using the resources they have. They are not using the land. They are not using the labor. So please, ensigo yiyo gikozese eyale bakwita kwala olabye omuganda werwero nange temunzimula. So this is the answer. We are very conscious of that, But we even go further, like this kana akasente ketuwereza abakadde, this sage, that sage is the kasumoro and tobo of the other unemployment benefits, more or less because these people, we just give them free money. So if we had bigger budget, we could put more money in that program of the elders and cover more, because they have been agitating. You are giving only the ones of 80 and above. You start giving the one of 65 and above. So we don't have enough money. But if we had enough money, we would involve the ones of 65 and give them more money. So the ideas are there. It is just the resources. But we think the one which is easy is this one of Oku and Sigo. PDM, this other one, Emioga. That's really, I insisted the government, even if we stop the roads, but let's put enough money here. That's why you hear 100 million per parish. This is quite a bit of money. Because if you are to give each family 1 million, that means you cover 100 families in one parish in 1 year. Umwaka ogudako, another 10. Emyaka ena, 400 families in a parish. This is something. And we calculated it because like the 1 million per family, I think that time we calculated that okugula emwanyi for 1 acre, 450 seedlings, would take 180,000 shillings. Awo bofunye ensigo ezimala okusimba mu ika yonna 450. Then you remain with 820,000 for labor, for what. So singa mukinyonyola bulungi mukozesa radio zammwe, it would help our people. Now the Americans handled the meeting very well. They did not try to involve us with the diplomatic and these political issues, which would have brought differences. They just concentrated on trade and business at our Mbabulunji. No problem. Boyogala ku business. We had no problem. So they didn't bring the issues of Ukraine, what, no, they didn't. I didn't hear anybody raising it, and nobody was trying to, because that would have brought to disagreements. Why are we taking the stand we are taking on that issue of Russia, Ukraine? It is because it is the correct one. Because we know the history very well. We know. I gave a long, no, I don't think I have spoken about it in public, but in private I have talked to all these leaders. They know our stand, and it's a correct one. Now, these abductions, I would really like to, like for instance, my friend, is she called Mubiru? Mubiru, could you, one of my staff, I don't know whether there are people who are here, the security people, Major Agaba, if you could put her in touch with the Mubiru there, so that I can get these people some examples, 1, 2, 3, to Tandikirao. Who are these who are abducting people? Because we have got, when there were the other riots in 2020, I called meetings of all these security, police, I called all of them, the other people, I called all of them and gave them guidelines in writing. These guidelines are already in the law. So really what I was doing is nothing new. I was just emphasizing and explaining. So I would want to know who are these whom you say arresting is in order, because like these people who are vandalizing power, we're going to arrest them. But once you arrest them, the question is how do you handle them? And in the write-up, you can give them my write-ups. You can give these journalists what I told the security people. You don't have to beat. Beating for what? No beating, just interrogate, and whether he admits or not, you can see the facts that pin him down, and he can be sentenced and even hanged, but legally. So you don't have to beat. You don't have to cause okwiretera enziro nti okubya omuntu. You can go by the fact. Museveni, were you in the conference hall at 10 minutes to 3 on 23rd? No, I wasn't there. But you were seen by Nabanja, you were seen by Mubiru. We saw you. So even if you deny, the evidence would pin you down. So these security people had the wrong idea that some of them are traditional ideas. You know, they come with ideas from the tribes. There was a later one, Majega government. Baleeta obunakyalo. Obunakyalo babuleeta babujeeyo mu kyalo ne babuleeta wano mu magi ga gavumenti. Because banakyalo, as you know, we the Baganda very well, tugamba nti akabwa kabbi kakola ki? You can see this is a traditional idea. A traditional idea that a stealing dog pays with its back. Abanyankore bagamba nti akabwa kaiba kaihura omugongo gwako. These are traditional ideas. Then the other traditional idea is okutatsya. Okutatsya. Abanyankore call it okutatsya. To beat you so that you tell us the truth. Okutatsya. So these are really essentially traditional ideas. tribal management of crime. But we have told them that and then of course within it, you can see this man is trying to be 3 in 1, to be like God. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. The Trinity. This fellow is trying to be the investigator, to be he investigates, he arrests, he investigates, and he also punishes. Because if you say akawaka bikasa sora mugongo, that means you are the one, you are both the arrester and the punisher. And modern constitution of Uganda is saying, no, we need 3 people here. We need the investigator and the arrester. We need the prosecutor. And I was a sir. And we need the mulamuzi, the anasara omusango. So this fellow is trying to be 3 in 1. He has not understood yet the separation. So really it is part of capacity building. The law is there, but they have not absorbed it in their blood. And that's what that's why I would, because I took time and I really took them through. So I would be surprised to find anybody who is still doing that. That's why I want to get some help from Mubiru. Then the meetings in the USA, we did a lot of good meetings with the business. This diaspora of yours, they are now doing a good job there. Because we have guided them, and they have also seen it, that instead of just being Bankova Cheyo, just working as laborers and what, they can also use their presence there to sell Ugandan products, and they are coming up. They buy because they also have their own tastes of Ugandan foods. They like the Ugandan foods, but they can also sell to the other Americans. So we had very good meetings with them. Now about the non-trade barrier, non-tariff barriers, those ones we are continuing to discuss with East African leaders. They will see, because you see they will see. There is no alternative. Because if you want prosperity, the more people that buy from you, the better. Like the Basoga, who produced a lot of sugar the other time, but the market was not enough. So now everybody knows that East African trade is very crucial. And some of the people have understood it very well, like His Excellency Ruto, even Her Excellency Samia. They have opened up where they were closing here for milk, for sugar. I can see they have opened up now. That's why you hear that there's now a shortage of sugar. Now there's a shortage. There was surplus sugar, now there's a shortage. The other time we had maize, we had surplus maize, we were stuck with maize. The prices collapsed, you remember, about 3 years ago. Now, there's now shortage of. So I think it's a learning process. They will learn. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Your Excellency, perhaps one final message to Ugandans as we get into the festive season. One final message to the Ugandans as we get into the festive season.
Oh.
Yes.
The message to the Ugandans is what I will give you on the New Year's. On the New Year's Day, you wait for it.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Mama Mchibi was talking about Congos. Ngenda kubongera ko on the New Year's Day, the end of the year. I will make a speech and I will concentrate on because those people you say don't have money now, part of them is because they Congora. Congora is when you other people are working and for you are cheating. Message. Oh, I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Okay, people, thank you. Because of Corona, we shall not have a group photograph because we don't have where to stand properly. Katubaleke.
Delta TV Tukole, tuegemese tutaasa obulamu. Omulabi waffe